if you look into the Jesus story and you really look at the Dead Sea Scrolls, if you really look at the translations, the North Star was actually hovering there for 2 months, and it was a set of stars. It was not just the North Star that some men followed. It was a craft. It was there for 2 months.
What up, everybody? Welcome back to the Bobby Dizzle podcast. This week's episode is going to be great. It is great because I've already watched it 15 times to clip it out for TikTok, but that's neither here nor there. But this week's episode features Rachel Corpus. She is, I reached out to her because of a UFO abduction story she told on another podcast I used to frequently watch, and I think I was a guest on there 1 or 2 times, Black Lotus. It's since ended due to some health reasons. But it was a good show. Go back and watch that. I'll put it in the links. But I reached out to her for a UFO abduction story she had on there that she discussed with the host. But in the midst of this show, I realized she's an angel communicator, that's a hard word, extraterrestrial communicator, psychic, and a medium, past life, and can read your past life, do viewings on that. And so this will be the first episode that I've done of my podcast where I was as shocked about what the content was going to be as the person watching it right now, because I was like, we're going to talk about UFOs for an hour and go down that rabbit hole, because it's one I haven't been down in a while, and it's one of my favorites, as it is everyone's, I'm sure, nowadays, since the UAP thing. But then I'm talking 5 minutes in, we didn't talk about UFOs hardly much at all, or at least the abduction story. That seemed to be like a moot point, like, that happened, who cares? Then we went down these rabbit holes, and I was just loving it. I talked about it for 3 or 4 days. I'm going to start rambling, but long story short, this is going to be a good episode. It goes deep. It goes deep, and it goes hard. Hey-oh. Dadgum, it's a pun. Anyway, before we get started, like, comment, subscribe, share. For the love of God, share. I'm going to do a five count for you to share this video and subscribe. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hope you've liked, commented, and shared. Check all the links in the description for how to get a hold of me, how to watch me, and how to find Miss Rachel Corpus. Thank you. Let's do it. Hey everybody, we're here with Rachel Corpus. I went back and made sure that's how you pronounced your name per Damien Gray. I've heard a piece, basically a little breadcrumbs of your story of possible alien abduction in, correct me if I'm wrong, 1988,
give or take. Yeah,
was it? Yeah, I was skimming through it, and I watched the episode you were on with Damien on Black Lotus, but it's been 4 or 5 months ago. So I was just going to we'll start off there. I just want to hear your story of how does one remember an alien abduction, and how would you describe it from your memories? That's like how do you remember it now?
Well, I'm not sure that we're intended to remember our abductions. I mean, the ETs, they don't really love the term abduct, but they gather us often, and some people wake up in the middle of that visit, and it can be very rattling. We'll say it that way, because some people, now this is kind of strange to hear, but there are many of us here on this earth that have agreed with the ETs ahead of time that when we incarnate into a physical body, we say, okay, you can come scoop us up from time to time and check on us. And that's to varying degrees. So some of us, that means we're just observed from a distance. And some people, that's a full-fledged scoop us up and take us away for a while. Of course, when we incarnate, we don't remember that, because free will puts blinders on us. So some people have full-fledged abduction memories, and one of those is mine. One of my very first abduction memories is from, give or take 1988. Then I didn't remember it for a really long time, but I remember just bits and pieces of it come back here here and there of just being aboard the ship and walking around and pretty much getting a tour of what it looked like and the beings that walked me around. Since then, especially recently in the last couple of years, I've been working pretty regularly with the ET population, both from their realm and then as they come here, to help us with our evolution, which, as I say that out loud, sounds kind of wackadoo. I get that, but it is true. They're here as the ETs that I work with are very kind and benevolent. They're here to help. They've been here for a long time. Yeah, that's a long answer for your question, but
oh, that's a perfect answer. I don't really doubt the I guess I'd say realistic aspect of it, because the theory is we started seeing them about the time we started lighting the candles on our nuclear weapons, and so they're trying to keep us. They're trying to keep us to go through that great filter.
Well, in fact, the ETs have been here several times to offer us help, and the nuclear weapons were actually given to us by the ETs to the government, and were never meant to be weapons. They were meant to help us, and our government turned them into a weapon. So there will be some point where it's going to be revealed somehow, and I don't know how, but we'll see how many times the ETs have been here to offer us help. But all they can do is extend the baton. All they can do is say, hey, here's some technology. Here's an antidote for cancer or something like that. And then what we do with it is up to us. And I really don't want to sound like a theorist here, but our government has taken a lot of their help and manipulated it into something negative quite a bit. Or if there's no money behind it, we look at a cure for cancer. If there is a cure for cancer, well, our pharmaceutical companies would be out a lot of money, and so the ETs offer some data that honestly we have that they're giving back to us about how our bodies already know how to self-heal, and they're reminding us of that when they come back and are wanting to reteach us that information gets blocked by the powers that be. Big stuff.
Mm-hmm. I almost think that particular concept is probably the definition of pure evil, along the lines of how the moon has the helium-3, and I think that's the reason they killed the space program, or the Apollo program the first time, because of helium-3 and big oil.
Makes you wonder.
They say, public perception, Jim Loyal. This is the third podcast in a row I've mentioned this, by the way. I'm upset. I think it's because I live in Huntsville and they got the Artemis thing going right now. And I've been a little bit moon heavy lately. And that show For All Mankind on Apple. Yeah. That was like a big concept of it, that she cut jobs for helium. I keep calling it helium-3.
Yeah.
And the moon's full of it, and it could power one crater, could power the world for 10,000 years. And that's gotta.
Absolutely. And why aren't we doing that?
Big oil.
Big oil.
Every time somebody has a car that runs on water, boom, dead.
Yes. And all the ETs that I have worked with have said they have to respect free will, our free will. They can only offer help, and then they can't interfere. And in my ego frustrations, I'll say, "What? You're so powerful. Can't you just swoop down and fix it? Come on." And they say, "You know what? We can't. That is not. We are powerful, but we cannot get in the way of your growth, your humans' growth. That is not our deal. So all we can do is offer the technology, offer the wisdom, and you all have to take it and run with it if you're going to." And it just hasn't happened at this point.
Now, are they going to stop us from destroying ourselves?
They can't.
The great filter.
But I will say, they do talk about, they have taken a lot of people in the past. I mean, there's times that we've seen a significant amount of people disappear, and that is ET. I don't know a lot about that. I know some of it is them, and it from our perspective, it seems really dark, like a kidnapping. From their perspective, they say, hey, we did it in a way that was very peaceful. We suspended animation on Earth. People were not harmed. They explain it pretty well. It's really fascinating how they bend time and they use their form of technology. It's amazing. I've not heard them say, and they're pretty honest with me because they know I'm pretty brave, and they know that I'm not quiet about what they tell me. They've been pretty honest with me, and they've never told me that they're going to blow us up or anything like that. I've not heard them say that, and I've really asked it because I'm human. I get scared sometimes. I want to know what's going to go on. I watch movies. I
Mm-hmm.
I have my middle of the night thoughts. And
It
their response is, it's not us that's going to blow you up. It's you guys. You're going to
mm-hmm.
blow yourselves up.
Be much more worried about us. To
Yes.
them, abductions got to be more like us tagging a panda or something. Like it doesn't hurt the
Yes.
panda, but the
Fuck
panda's
yes.
freaking out, or
That's
a sea
right.
turtle in a net.
Oh my God. Yes.
I've thought about that before. I'm like, if they are, how if they people always use the example millions of years advanced. If they're 250 years more advanced, they could do. I don't honestly know. Have they told you how much farther they are advanced? But
Oh, eons. Oh, there is no time that we can compare to how far advanced they
okay.
are. Their vibrational frequency is so different than ours. It's hard to even compare.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was just I've
They're
always
almost
thought,
angelic.
yeah. Does that tie into the? I kind of went over your bio on Damien's show with the Angel Communicator.
Uh-huh.
Do ETs and angels the Venn
Very
diagram
close.
cross?
Yeah, in many ways. Their vibrational frequency is very high. So, one of the ways they're similar is, angels, and my definition of angels is they're beings that assist us that are not in human form. They've never walked the earth. They are entities made of energy, and they're light beings made of love and energy, high vibrational frequency, that are here to assist us as we walk the earth as humans. ETs are also high vibrational beings and are also coming here to assist us by their choice. They come to help us. And one of the ways that they are similar is our vibrational frequency here on earth is so low. The angels and the ETs cannot be here for very long, which is why when we have ET visits, we often see the craft hovering. We don't see it landing for long. And when we do see an ET being on the earth, we see the grays. Usually we see the little gray beings with the black onyx eyes. And they tell me that those are not actually the true alien ET beings. Those are like gophers. They've created those beings to be their runners. Here on Earth, those are in our equivalent. I don't know if we even have an equivalent here, but like a chimpanzee for us. If we were to use a chimp to run our errands for us, is the closest
Mm-hmm.
example I could ever even think of. They have created the grays, the small beings, where the grays will come here in their ships and land, and will sometimes be the ones to collect people, or will be sometimes the ones that are captured, and will be the ones that are autopsied and studied, because the actual ETs that are active on our behalf are actually taller. Their vibrational frequency is a lot higher, and they can't survive here because our frequency is so low. We can't really see them very well. We can't see angels very well because our eyes just can't see that type of frequency. Our bodies can't handle it. So in that way, they're the same. They seem to be without ego, where they don't get mad at us. We don't upset them. They don't function the same way as we do. They don't understand things like murder. The ETs do not understand how we could kill each other. It just does not make sense to them. Even things like eating a lot of meat, they don't get it. They don't understand how that's possible in our world. Yeah, just very, very high frequency, all love.
Why do you think they're fascinated with us, or is it just are we unique? Like as far as our physical little monkey brains.
We are unique. If you go back far enough, and I know this is gonna stretch people a little bit, and I'm happy about that. If we go back far enough,
Stretch away.
there is, yeah, there's evidence that the ETs actually colonized. So we go back to Big Bang, and there are ETs that actually, it is their job to observe planets and see when they can sustain life. And when planets can sustain life, they send life there. And at one point, that was Earth, Big Bang. And when life was put here, um, life was created little by little. Fast forward, here we are. Part of that process was the ETs coming here and colonizing us, and we came from all sorts of different planets, but we were brought here by ETs. The Jesus story. If you look into the Jesus story and you really look at the Dead Sea Scrolls, if you really look at the translations, the North Star was actually hovering there for 2 months, and it was a set of stars. It was not just the North Star that some men followed. It was a craft. It was there for 2 months. It's very possible that that was alien. We have evidence all along history of the ETs coming back and checking on us and giving us information. And according to them, they were the ones that put us here. Therefore, they come back and check on us, keep us going, try to redirect us, respecting our free will. And so that's the reason why they're so interested in us, because we are part of them. They call us hybrids. And many people who have abduction stories will remember walking around the ship or seeing glimpses of tanks of water where there's a half human, half alien being grown there. Or I remember that from my abduction story, seeing seeing some sort of water tank, and in there was a human and some sort of being in there. And the angels say, well, that was us helping one of the hybrids. And they say, that's not uncommon. You all know people who are star seeds, Pleiadians, Atlanteans, Lyrans. We're all from some sort of planet, just like United States of America. We're all immigrants. Let's broaden that. Where did we all come from? Not just as our skin, but as our spirit. Where did we come from? We're from different planets, and the ETs colonized us here. You can look at evidence in the Bible and see where that was shifted in from ET evidence into something fear-based that turned into religion, to perhaps push people down, push people into obedience, into formalized religion. It's all there. And a lot of what was found in the 40s in the Dead Sea Scrolls reveals that, but then got quiet, put away again.
I've thought that my entire life. I was raised Catholic. I still am.
Same.
But
yeah,
but
same.
And I took this weird approach more recently because CCD started, Sunday school started, for those who haven't been in it since the 80s. And my kids going back, so we're attending. I probably should go to confession because I didn't attend. I attended sparsely over the summer because I was just worn out mentally. Yeah. But like, if you start listening to it, like, wait a minute, this sounds like they're trying to say something through it. Like, here, yes. I'm coming through. You know, the stuff could be translated. If it was a sci-fi movie, it'd be the greatest Spielberg thing he's ever made.
That's right.
But
that's your job. Metaphors, listen through it.
And it feels like if you translate it that way, that you're considered a heathen. But right. I feel like that's part of this video game we're in right now. Is trying to if you can figure that out, wait a minute, this is a game. I don't know why it's a game. I don't know.
Well, why. It's a game because Earth is, once you decide to incarnate into this dimension, Earth, you can't skip grades. This is like a college. This is like school. Mm-hmm. It's a learning dimension. There's no other dimension like this. You can only learn things on Earth that are lower vibrational in frequency, like hunger, poverty, murder, kind of the shitty stuff, honestly. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't exist in other planets that we know of, that the ETs know of, that the angels know of. So if you are, as a spirit, as a soul, if you choose to be a well-rounded, complete soul and you want to know everything, you choose to incarnate here on Earth. And once you choose to come to Earth, you're also choosing several lifetimes here, so that you can't learn it all in one lifetime. You need several lifetimes to learn it all, because if you learned all of that hard stuff in one lifetime, well, you just couldn't. There's no way you could. So you come back. That school is lifetime after lifetime. Um, so I don't know where I was going with that, but
Oh,
but they
I was following. Don't worry.
but they say that but they say, yeah, this is very much like a game. It means a lot to us when we're here. It's precious. We have children, we have livelihoods, but when we're not in our bodies and we're in spirit on the other side, this is like a blip. Oh, what did we learn? No big deal. Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Roy game from Rick and Morty.
Ah,
Like
yes.
he's taking Roy off the grid. That last episode was about Roy again. They
Yes.
brought him back. That it'll give you
And
an
that,
existential crisis.
come on. Yeah.
It really will. And I always wanted to know. I had one of my friends' moms is real sensitive about the clairvoyancy and hypnotism. She was
Mm-hmm.
telling me that when you reincarnate, you usually wait till your immediate family and people you loved are up there with you, and then you kind of spread out again.
Mm.
I don't know if that's something you dealt with or heard of before, but she was saying that kind of what she feels like.
I've seen it both ways. I've seen some people come right back, and I've seen some people wait. It's kind of up to everybody. Everybody has their own personal choice. Depends on their journey.
It almost seems like it'd be boring if you just got up there and chilled for the rest of forever,
Yeah.
or if that exists, if boredom exists.
I don't know. I mean, if you choose it, that afterlife experience seems to be whatever you want it to be. Some people have a pretty traditional afterlife experience with a beautiful home and all their family and beautiful gardens, like your biblical heaven for sure. And some people create something that looks like Tron or Star Trek or something. I noticed that pretty consistently, though. That is a life in itself. It doesn't seem to be fat angel babies playing harps on clouds.
Hmm.
It's definitely a period of learning and healing. And then at some point you get to choose if you're going to come incarnate back on Earth or not, or you can go to other places. There's other galaxies, other planets you can go to. And often when people do um, hypnosis, spiritual hypnosis of some kind, and they think they're going to go back to past lifetimes, they actually go to other planets, and it boggles their mind. Oh, I didn't know I could do that. I didn't know that was part of me, that I've been to those places. And, oh, yes, it's all part of us. We don't know how amazing we are.
Yeah, something's out there. That's all the big not the big, all like the conspiracy guys that actually dig deep into spiritualism. They're like, we're being pushed down by the evil, I guess, to a lower vibration.
Yes.
So we don't realize how special this place is, because like we don't get talked to by God anymore.
Right.
We can't talk to ghosts anymore. It's not like the 1500s or even before that. That's a horrible
Right.
example, but you know what I mean. It's like we're all just sort of secular, like
Right.
pseudo super secular nowadays.
Right. And we're really coming back to a more personal relationship with God, with our creator. And just like you said, when you sit in mass and you're listening to the scripture and you're like, okay, I want to hear through that. What else are they saying? That seems to be right on with what I'm hearing from a lot of people and from spirit, that we are kind of busting away from the rules that are old fashioned rules, and we're getting into more intuitive. How do we want it? How does each individual want to know their own God, their creator, so that we can start to see ghosts again? We can start to see angels and ETs and grandma on the other side. Again, it is coming back. Um, and that's very exciting. And it gives me job security.
Yeah.
which is nice.
Do you think we're evolving, or is it
Mhm.
evolving back toward that? I talked to Dark
Yeah.
Hour Mike Rozier about it. He
Mm,
says he says you think we're evolving back toward it,
I do.
being able to hear and see that frequency.
I do. I absolutely I do, especially as our children are being born, they're choosing to come back in here with very particular gifts. They're less in tune with traditional school systems. They need more. They're coming in as healers. They're coming in a little bit harder to raise. You might have noticed
Mm-hmm.
this with your children. I have with mine. Um, they need a more of our they need our attention in a different way because they're more sensitive. They're more gifted, and they're part of our evolution. They're coming in as our teachers, because yes, we're evolving into a back into a more psychic, intuitive culture. I would say we'll get there when my grandkids have kids. We'll be we'll be there.
I
I
could see it popping in as like a trait that
uh-huh.
as kind of like redhead and green eyes,
Sure,
and it's
sure.
not UAPs and UFOs aren't considered crazy anymore,
Uh-uh.
or as crazy. But I can see like that coming back around. Do you think tech? No, it's just I don't want to say it's just, but it's just like a radio frequency. Like you said, vibrations. Do you think technology is going to find that other dimensions, kind of like tuning through an old UHF
I think
TV
it's already
someday?
there. Yes, I think it's there already. I think it's been hidden. I,
That makes
I
sense
believe
too.
it's there. I think time travel's already there. I think there's so much there that either it's been discovered and it's not out there, it hasn't been spoken about, or somebody rich owns it, or we're real close. We're right on the brink.
It's like the machine on Contact. Some rich old man owns it.
Yes.
Elon. I think if we can do anything else, we have to have done that, at least a glimpse of it,
Hmm.
just with frequency alone, because they bury the needle in everything they do. No telling how many like prisoners of war they've killed trying
Yes.
that, or military privates.
Yes.
The like a Montauk chair. No telling how much of that's happened. We don't even know about.
Right. Yeah, there's so much we don't know. There's so much they've kept from us. And even the biggest skeptic would have to say that's true. There's so much we don't know.
So how do I was going to ask you this before I forget. When we get on a tangent we can't return from. How, how do, I really, when I saw you were an angel communicator, I believe in this. I discovered it by accident back in 2014. Is the concept of angel numbers.
Mm,
Is that real?
for
Like,
sure.
because it
Yeah.
seems like every time I see a certain number, I don't want to say it because I don't know if it ruins it if I reveal it. If I'm in a situation where I'm getting harder on the collar and I'm stressed,
Yeah.
that number will pop up in something, a piece of code, because I'm a network engineer. It'll pop
Yeah.
up in something just randomly. I'll see it on like a milk carton or like a Coke can, and then all of a sudden I realize this is going to be bullshit. I'm just going to go fine. It's just something stupid I have to deal with, and it's 100% of the time. Like how do these
Absolutely.
work?
Well, you just like all of us, you have your own angels assigned to you when you were created. They've walked with you every step of the way since your first lifetime, and they are pretty good at communicating with you, and they know you. They're an extension of you, and they're an extension of God all at the same time. And they know when you're getting hot under the collar, and they know what signal works for you, and often that's an angel number, so they're
Mm-hmm.
going to send you a 444 or a 77 or a 555 or something. And sometimes it's more specific. Sometimes it's going to be your birthday, or it depends on the person. um, Angels communicate through numbers because we adhere to numbers here. In this dimension, we pay attention to the clock, we add things up.
Mm-hmm.
We're numbers people. So they use numbers that gets our attention. Um, Angels will also use numbers to give us specific directions. So they do encourage us when to look for repeating numbers that might not be your typical angel numbers. A typical angel number might be 111, 777,
Mm-hmm.
1111. That's the big one, 1111. Um, when you're driving around, for instance, you're going for a drive, it's good to say to your angels, hey, tell me what you want me to know. and then look at every license plate possible safely as you drive around and see what numbers you keep seeing. And let's say they want to show you 36. You're going to know they're showing you 36 because you're going to see it on a license plate in front of you, then the next one, and then down the road, another one. You're going to keep seeing that 36. And then you look it up on the internet. What's the meaning of angel number 36? There's enough good people out there who have channeled what angel numbers mean that your angels can work through those people, those channelers like me, and let you know what message they're giving to you, whether that is 444 or something more specific like 17 or 36 or something. So yeah, numbers are one of their favorite ways to communicate for sure.
I thought I was crazy, to be honest.
Well, not about that. You might be crazy.
Yeah, I was
Not
looking
about
up.
the numbers.
I've got those sites you're talking about, bookmarks, Sunscribes
Yeah.
and Sunsign.
Yes.
There's about
Love it.
4 of them. One always
Oh,
gives like a weird interpretation that's
yeah.
close to the same, but it's like a bunch of metaphors.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
there's one that's completely different than the rest. But all
Mm-hmm.
all mine are just amalgamation of the same 2 numbers. It'd be that number with another number on the back. And it's
Yes.
happens for so long that I've looked them up that I know what it's going for. Like one means you're going to get what you want, but it's not going to be how you like it. And sure as shit,
What happens,
the first time I saw that and looked it up, it was what happened like the next day. I was like, this is weird.
isn't it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's one of the crazy things. And I saw that angel thing, the angel communicator on your bio there. Like I got to
Yeah.
see what the fleshing out of that one is.
Yeah.
Like
That's it.
because it hit me. I used it hard.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a number. When I looked retroactively, it appeared throughout my life growing up.
Oh,
I
wow.
just never thought like all my relatives' phone numbers, including my wife, had this number in their phone number.
Shut up.
No.
Wow.
Both grandparents, my wife, um, I don't think my parents did. No, but that's what's crazy. I noticed it in my wife's phone number after I
That's
started
no
noticing it.
coincidence either.
No, and when I see the one phone number is kind of like that number split up, but like it's just with the zero in the middle, and I'll see that.
Yes, which
I know
they'll
it's
do.
crazy. Mm-hmm.
Mhm. They'll switch the order sometimes. They'll put a zero in the middle, but once you
Yep.
know it's your number, you see it. You start to see it all the time. And they'll flip it to you when you need to see it.
Mm-hmm. I get like my daily tarot readings on license plates on the right end. Like
Oh,
it's got an 8 behind it. It's gonna be a good day. A 4, tag it. It's gonna
I
suck,
love
but in right.
that. I love that. Huh.
It's not 100%. That's mostly like I feel like just saying it's not like just be cheerful and don't be mad because had to get up and go to work.
Mm.
That's a lot what that feels like.
Yes. But that does sound like them. They do
Mm-hmm.
try to keep it as positive as possible because when we can try to stay positive, it helps us create our best life. They are trying to keep us as vibrationally high as possible.
And I just wonder like how many other people are getting those but ignoring them.
Oh,
Just
yes.
it's got to be everybody.
It's a lot of people.
Like who's an NPC, who's not. Like
Yeah.
are there people out there that aren't people? Like are those
Oh,
exist?
yes. There are background people. Absolutely. There are people that I'll be honest with you, I don't totally understand this concept myself,
Mm-hmm.
but have said that there are people because we're so good at creating things with our mind that we've created this whole planet. We've created matter with our mind, that we have created um what the angels they call them support or background people, and these are people that you would see, and they are like what did you call them, non-player?
Yeah, NPCs, non-player characters.
Yeah. And I totally understand that until I go deeper and I think, wait, do they have houses? Do they have kids? Do they
Yeah,
drive?
they've got to
then
have
i
like
then I don't.
physical
Yeah.
accommodations.
Yeah. Yeah. Then I'm like, oh, does not compute. But the angels say, yes, we've created even background people. Um, Fascinating stuff. I
It
mean, this
really is
dimension is so amazing.
because there's people who don't enjoy themselves. Like they're especially on Reddit, which drags me down to a level of hell.
Yeah, don't read that.
Well, I use Reddit for everything because I do a martial art and I do an IT thing and I do podcasting,
Mm,
and so it's
mm,
where the world is. But there are people on Reddit that just drag you down.
yeah.
Like they don't want to work or better themselves. They just like I don't want to like necessarily work, but when it comes to creating and doing this and achieving something, that's my blue flame as they call it.
Yeah.
Just working toward a goal like the Encanto, not Encanto. Is it Encanto? What else can I do? Yeah,
Mm,
that's it. The
hmm.
Isabella character on Encanto. The
Oh, I've
world,
not
what?
seen that yet.
Yeah,
I'm,
that'll
no.
worry you to death. It's
Oh,
pretty
okay.
good. How do you have three kids and haven't seen that?
They're a little bit older.
Oh, well, I thought you weren't old enough to have kids that.
Oh, I'm old, older than
Well,
I look.
well,
I
you don't
work
look
with the
old.
ETs, so I'm close to 50.
You're like Ripley. Ripley, you were cloned.
It's when you work with the ETs, they take years off of you. It's
That
weird.
makes sense.
Uh-huh. It's nice. I don't
I'm
mind
actually
it.
21.
I'm only 15. No, just kidding.
I've been doing nursing at the ripe old age of 31.
I'm
So where
divvied
does
out.
since you do speak with the ETs, you have the I think we talked about a little bit of psychic abilities.
Oh yeah.
Where do those fit in with check my notes here. Uh, where do you stand with cryptids? Is was going to be my next question. Like, what does the
Well,
ETs say about those?
they're real. They're from a different dimension. I know that something that's happening right now is our the different dimensions that are around us are colliding or collapsing. So the space that used to be in between the dimensions, if you think about like layers of a cake and frosting in between those layers, like each cake layer being a dimension, the space in between has gone away. So we have a collapsing of dimensions. So like cryptids, they're all here now, where they used to be in their own dimension. Now they're here. Same thing like fairies used to
Mm-hmm.
all be in a dimension. So I don't know much about them, to be honest, but they're legit. Um, I know that when I have seen some of them or any other, sometimes I'll see a lower vibrational entity like a demon or something, and I know my guidance from them is to just send it home. So I don't really spend much time talking to it or anything. I'm like, oh, you
Mm-hmm.
took the door, go home.
Yeah, it's just one of the things I'm ultimately fascinated with is Bigfoot, obviously from
Yep.
this.
Bigfoot's a native here, though.
Yeah,
Yeah, people
I've
should
been
just,
told that by a lot of people
yeah.
who know just a little bit or have experienced him.
Yeah. The only thing I know about, I don't know much about Bigfoot at all. The only thing I know about Bigfoot is that Bigfoot's been here. Bigfoot lineage is predates the Eskimos, predates Native Americans. It's the only thing I know. Has gone way far back, and I just so admire how well they've hidden themselves.
Oh, that I wish they'd give us something. Give us a breadcrumb.
I
They
know.
they've got to know that we're just gonna just royally mess them up if we find out.
Well, see, they are able to. What you have to know about cryptids is since they're from another dimension, they're able to flip into their own dimension. So sometimes you'll see them and it's like a blip in the matrix. It's like you see them and then they're gone, just gone. So somebody's like, I just saw Bigfoot. And you think, okay, did it go in a cave? Did it go behind a tree? No, it went back in a different dimension. It's like that dimension is right on top of ours, like saran wrap. And so I know that the cryptids are from a parallel dimension really close to ours and have been here walking in our dimension with us longer than they're saying, as I listen to them right now, long before the Eskimos have been here and have been in their dimension and kind of popping back into ours. So they're real good at disappearing and hiding, and they're not like hiding behind a tree or behind a rock. They're
No,
back in their dimension. I didn't know that actually until just a second ago. when they're talking to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm getting live updates.
Yeah, I always do. Like, okay, who is that? Who's talking to me?
That's got to be fascinating because there's also the if there's a layover map of the United States of the cave systems and missing persons, and I often wonder if that didn't tie in. Like maybe they can not, you say clip in and out. Maybe they can teleport or find a
Oh, I'm
hole
sure.
really quick.
Oh, I'm sure. Ley lines. Oh, I'm sure. There's so much involved with that. I am sure of it. I want to see if Spirit will tell me. I'm getting a thumbs up there.
From the cave.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
pretty intense because it also matches up with all the hot spots,
Mm.
which is just major hubs of wilderness.
Yes.
Like along, it's basically just take the Rocky Mountains and go down the side is what it is. Plus, the county I'm from, which is just a few miles east of where I'm at, has the most caves of any county in the world.
Mm.
And so I'm wondering if there's not some kind of activity there, but nobody's ever reported anything there.
Well, and I mean, can't you just get lost forever in a cave too?
Oh yeah, these are caves like the size of a room. Like my parents' land have a cave on it. You could go in and have a clubhouse. Like I mean, you just walk in like we're in a cave, just basically like a room. You got to kneel down, and it's full of snakes usually. But
Wow.
and an interesting thing ties in. I had a gentleman from the Iowa line, probably not far from you, Missouri,
Hmm.
and it's going to be a good episode. I mean, you need to listen to it when it pops out. Um, says that there's no vipers on his land, like rattlesnakes, copperheads, cottonmouths. And my parents have the same amount of land, and I've never seen a viper there since the mid '80s. When he said that, I was like, holy shit. The next piece of property over, rattlesnakes every day.
Wow.
We've never had them. Just little black snakes is all we've had over there.
Wow.
And it's the same place, it's the same terrain. This is
Wow.
rocks in a swamp. It's all the land is kind of a field. 14 acres here, no snakes. 14 acres next door, snakes every day.
Bizarre.
Yeah, when dude told me that, I was freaking out. I was like, what? That doesn't make any sense. There's no Bigfoots. Surely those were coyotes I've heard all these years.
Hmm.
There's
Do
never
do
been any.
do 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 do
Oh
do.
yeah. There was one crazy meth head that said he saw a Bigfoot somewhere near there, but I'm flipping the coin on whether I believe that one or not.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, you never know. Yeah.
Meth heads really ruin it for everybody
Yeah,
when
darn
it
it.
comes to that kind of stuff.
Meth heads and psychics who lie. Sucks.
Sounds like a joke.
Yeah.
A meth head and a lying psychic walk into a bar.
Go bar.
What do they do? They create BFRO.
A meth head, a psychic who lies, and a Catholic walk into a bar.
There's the joke that a pedophile, a Nazi, and a Satanist walk into a bar. What do they do? They create NASA.
Wow.
My favorite joke, by the way, one of them, because we've got the shrine to the Apollo about 10 miles from here with a picture. I'm talking about a fathead picture the size of a room, 10 by 10, of Lyndon B. Johnson watching the moon launch. I'm like, how can you unironically put that up? Like, why is when people are just taking pictures? Oh, it's LBJ. Like, I wonder how he got that job. Everybody else is there. Oh, look at that, honey. There's Warner von Braun. Yeah, he's a Nazi.
Oh God. People don't know.
Oh, it's people know here. Our civic center is the von Braun Center.
Yeah, people don't know. People selective I don't think it's selective memory, but it's selective history, I suppose.
There's also the media tells you what to believe
Oh yeah.
to 90% of the, I
Oh
say
yeah.
NPCs again, but just the people who don't think.
Well, and that goes back to the school systems with our kids being born the way they're being born and how they don't adhere to the way school systems work anymore. They're going to question everything. We need a different way school systems work for our new kids who are coming in psychic. They're coming in as healers. They're not going to put up with information that's incomplete or wrong like that. They're not going to put up with it, and they're going to know intuitively when there's bullshit.
They're already not putting up with it.
Yep.
The what I thought was the rise of communism is just free thinkers.
Yep.
I'm kind of bouncing in and out of their little world. Like, you make a lot of sense. Now that didn't, but that did.
Yeah. Keep honing it. You're almost there.
You need to stay away from my W4, but
Yeah.
you're doing a good job on the other stuff, like the anti work and the not putting up with the quiet quitting.
Yes. Yep. They're starting to make good work for sure. Hmm. Good stuff.
Oh yeah. So where you at on the Skinwalker Ranch phenomenon?
I get nervous when I think they got to be careful. um
The main guy from that show lives here too.
yeah.
Travis Taylor lives here in
I'm
Huntsville.
surprised he's still alive.
Yeah. Do you want to hear something? We'll touch back on Skinwalker, but there's a radio station, a radio show you should listen to called Rick and Bubba. They're out of Birmingham. They're amazing. They're funny, but they had Travis Taylor on the show because Birmingham's only an hour from here.
Hmm.
And if you go, they did a podcast. Well, he's been on before when he did another show with National Geographic, so they were kind of friends.
Hmm.
He comes on there and just does a podcast with Rick and Bubba. And 30 minutes in, he says, the highest area is it Utah Skinwalker Ranch?
Maybe.
Yeah, he
So.
says he says that area has the highest concentration of gallbladder trouble
Oh,
of anywhere
see?
in the world. And 3 weeks later, the co-host of that show's gallbladder ruptured.
Yeah, see. Um, there's something vibrational that even when I was watching the show, that Skinwalker Ranch show, I couldn't watch what show, what channel was that on?
History.
History, yeah. I couldn't watch the whole episode. I'd get sick. Like my lower body, I couldn't watch it. There's something vibrational there. It was making me sick. It's like I don't know how they can. I'm watching the show from my bedroom as a psychic. I don't know how they are not ill or dying. There's so much energy. I could hear the hum of the land just watching it. It was pre-recorded. It wasn't even a live show. And then just watching that show, I would watch them walking around on that land and I'd see like in Wayne's World, I
Oh
would
yeah.
see that coming up from the land and I was like, wait, go back, go back. Didn't anybody else see that? I was like, okay, I'm done. I don't want to see that. Something dark there. Real dark.
You think it's dark?
I do. I do think
Oh,
it's dark. I don't know. I don't know the whole thing there, but I know there's some burial there that feels like it's Native American or something. Something's buried there that feels gross. In addition to whatever else it would be, it feels like death there.
feels like death. And they've got that anomaly. They got that thing in the middle of the ranch called the triangle. And
Uh-huh.
every time they try to investigate it, it messes up whatever instrument.
Yeah.
Like
Mm-mm.
a rocket bounced off of it.
Yeah, yuck.
Well, Skinwalker. They've been talking about that for years.
Yep. Those are the things that I just think I'm okay not knowing about that. I'll be all right if I don't know about that. That's okay. I'm all right.
See, when you get to level one of this fascination, that seems fascinating.
Yeah.
But when I get to talking to people, like you and people have been actually seen stuff and done things, you're like that's it's kind of like 101 version of it. And
Yeah. I've seen some really scary shit. And it's funny what ends up scaring me because that Skinwalker Ranch stuff really scares me. But then I think of some other stuff that I've seen and I'm like, why didn't that scare me? It's weird.
what about ghosts? You ever see those? Like
All the
or
daily.
even what are ghosts? Like what we know of.
Ghosts are Ghosts are earthbound spirits who, for whatever reason, did not cross over into another dimension. So after they left their costume, this farty, stinky body,
Meat sack.
they meat sack,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. They didn't go to another. They didn't go to an afterlife experience that was a different dimension, so they stayed here. And sometimes um, souls choose that they don't want to go someplace else. Like I met an old guy who built his house And he's like, I don't want to leave. This is the house I built. How could anything be better than this? He's like, I'm good here. He was not a mean guy. He just stayed around and he just hung around that land. Some people stay because they don't know they're dead. It's a quick death. Or they're addicted, they're high and they don't know. But so they're a ghost, and that's why we get cold spots, because they change the molecules around them. They make it cold. They change the speed of the molecules so they can come through. Earthbound spirits do that. If they're crossed over, if they're spirit, they don't have to do that. So we don't really feel them the same way. But yeah, I see ghosts all the time. And I have deals with ghosts that they don't show up at the foot of my bed anymore, make me pee my pants in the night.
Yeah, I'm out on that.
Yeah, I didn't.
It's a
That used to
thumbs
happen to me. I don't like that.
down.
They don't do that anymore. My angels hold that boundary for me. They're like my bouncers, so I don't see them in my room like I did when I was a kid. And I'm okay if I know how the ghosts, if they tell me how they died, or I sometimes I feel how they died, but I don't want to see it. I don't want to see like the gunshots and the knives and stuff, or like the heads falling off. So, but when I see demons and things like that, sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm just going to look away for a second. All right, now I'm good. Takes me a minute. I have my poop my pants moment, but then
I
it's
couldn't
all right.
imagine. That would take some getting used to.
It did. It takes some getting used to, but after you see it, you're like, all right, it's one of those. I'm okay. Seen that before. And if you get scared of it, then it's like, all right, I gotcha. Because you don't want to feed it. You don't want to show it your fear. You can smell that. So
Have you ever been to Savannah, Georgia?
mm-mm.
Most haunted place in America.
I'd like to. If
You,
anybody's listening and they want to invite me there to do a ghost hunt, I'll come. But
shoot, I'm gonna buy a house there to hope it's haunted for some sick
oh,
reason.
it would be. If you bought anything there, it's going to be haunted.
Oh, it's upsetting. There's a sorrel weed house there. You can go in the basement, and apparently our friend Zach Bacon did a fake possession down there. But you can feel stuff. My wife is like a notch sensitive.
Wait,
She'll see stuff.
friend Zach Bagan or
Yeah,
friend Zach Bagan?
no, it was the ironic version of friend. Friend.
Well, here's my problem. If you're on a show like that and you antagonize spirit, that's really mean. If you go there and you're like, I'll help you, and then you leave and you don't help them, that's really shitty. I mean, what if you were stuck somewhere and somebody was like, oh, I've got this machine and you can talk to me, and then you just leave? Or somebody walks in your house and they're like, I can see you and I can hear you now. That's not, it's an invasion of privacy. There's still people. Or they make it totally worse for the homeowner or the neighborhood. Or I have so many opinions.
Do you think his little ghost box works though? The one it talks.
I think a lot of it, to be honest, when I used to watch that show, I was like, nope, nope, that wasn't real. That was made up. That was made up. There's a whole lot of editing in there.
It just
Mm-mm.
seems like it. It seems like it's sitting there. It's just waiting on. I don't know. There's a lot of ways you could fake it.
Well, I have some of those ghost boxes and I take them to some places, and I sometimes I shut mine off because it'll just scroll words and I don't like that doesn't make any sense.
It just says go
No.
now, go
Oh
exit,
no, evil, evil, whatever. And I'm like,
uh,
no, that's
gun.
right. And I think it's good to be a skeptic when you're doing those things. You have to keep your skeptic hat on. And so my answer is I think he's basically gifted. I think he's got good equipment. I think he's gotten swept up in the theatrics. And you can watch a whole episode where nothing real happened.
That's probably a good assessment.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just wish it didn't get because you can almost tell when something. I say almost tell. You can tell when something's just bull crap
It is. It's
like
bullshit.
that.
And then it makes the work that I do, it makes people doubt the work that I do. It makes people skeptical about the work that I do. And that sucks. But
Yeah, most of those big organizations are kind of just what's the word I'm looking for? The charlatans.
charlatans,
Yeah,
yeah. A lot of people are hesitant. Um, yeah. People have been bamboozled.
Yeah, I used to love the taps. Then I'm like, wait a minute, this is crap.
Yeah, same.
I can't
You
I
know
can't
what
watch
show I
any of it
love
now.
is Dead Files.
Ooh, that woman scares me.
Yeah, but it's legit. She's great.
Yeah,
That's why it's scary because she's right. And she's does a great job of verbalizing what she sees, and she's accurate. She's right every single time.
so you think she's for real?
She is for real. What she sees, I see. She's
That
great.
explains why it scares me so much. It's real.
Real. Yep.
Because I can feel it. I get scared because I'm not sensitive, and watch me become that way after this, which I'm not okay with, unless it's a Sasquatch. But and but I feel like I know things like just a smidge more than others. Like I
Yeah.
sense things a smidge more, like the purpose of things.
Yeah.
Like I give good career advice because I'm like, you don't have to be this way toward this. You don't have to act like this to get this.
Right.
You're following these social norms that don't make any sense.
Well, everybody is psychic, everybody's intuitive, and it really depends on how much you want to live into that and believe that. A lot of it has to do with self confidence. You are psychic, you are intuitive. You could develop that however you want. We're all born with this. I was just born a little weirder,
Just a smidge weird.
just a smidge.
You said, "What do you want to talk about? Weird shit?" Yes, all
I
of it.
did say that, didn't I?
Yeah. I was like, well, that's going to lead to an interesting thing. I had my guy David from the Bigfoot guy. I don't know. He was a cool cat, but I don't know if he's ever used anything technical before.
Mm.
Or he's it's not a shame on him if he doesn't, because he'd basically be all of my relatives. But at the moment, but I was like, we're going to set up like I did. I messaged you. I set up for him about 30 minutes in advance because I had some time. But he dialed in and just started talking. I'm like, oh God, I gotta get everything together. I don't have coffee. I don't have my other
Oh,
co-host.
oh, oh,
So now I've got all these one-liners from him. I'm gonna have to see what I gotta do with. I was like, hold on,
oh.
David. Hold on. Just stop. And
It's funny.
I had to like move my camera away and physically leave the room so he'd stop. You're gonna do 30 minutes without me, buddy.
That's endearing. That's
Oh
really
man.
funny.
Oh, he was the one of the best guests.
Aw,
Had a had a choppy camera, but his audio was coming in. He was freaking me out. I was like, don't go anywhere. Just stay here.
yeah,
And I really want. He says he's clairvoyant, but
I bet.
I don't know what it means to be that way on the grand scheme. Like
Yeah,
in the general term, I don't know what it means, what it would all encompass.
yeah. Being able to see spirit, knowing things, being a seer. Yeah, I mean, you've got some pretty legitimate past lifetimes. Are you into that?
I am. If,
Yeah, I mean, is it okay if I look at that?
yeah, sure. I mean,
Is that okay? Okay. How much time do we have?
I don't know. Usually do about an hour. It's up to you, honestly.
Okay,
Maybe
okay,
maybe
do it.
another half hour or so.
Okay, yeah, yeah, I'll do a couple minutes there with you. So, yeah, when I look at your soul map and look at some of your past lifetimes, I mean, this explorer part of you is nothing new. You've clearly you've done this stuff before, and this is a good reason to talk to angels because your angels, like I said earlier, have been the ones that have traveled with you in all of your lifetimes. So they're the ones that hold all this data. I like to call it data or memories from your other lifetime. And to be specific, I can go back to a lifetime in, looks like 1820, and you're in Pennsylvania. And there's a lifetime where you were born psychic. So you do have this in your
Hmm.
database.
Now,
You
is it the
lived
same
in,
angels every time? Sorry.
yes, same time, same
Okay.
ones. Yes, same ones. Your family had a funeral home. This was a big old house. Then it looks like it was new. When I look at it now, it's an old house, but then it was your family built it. And this was you lived in the house, and in the living room you had that's where you did the funerals, and in the basement you prepared the bodies. I don't smell embalming fluid, so maybe that was too early. I don't know if that was a thing then or not. But you as a little boy, you were able to see spirit, and you especially liked when there was a child that passed, because when the spirit of that child would be in the house because you were getting ready for the funeral, you would play with that spirit, and the spirit of that child would stay with you for about a week or so, and you'd have a friend. um, your angels are bringing this up because they want you to feel emboldened and empowered in your gifts, because this hasn't gone away. It's hibernating in you. You can wake it up. And you saw some dark shit in that lifetime as well, but you learned to say, I don't like that, go away. And they say it's the same now. If anything dark came in, you could say, I just don't like that, go away, and it would go away immediately. um I'm looking at your bedroom in that lifetime, and there are hand drawn pictures and watercolor pictures of Bigfoot.
What?
So you were into that then
Hot
as
damn.
well.
Hot damn.
Yeah, it's like a pencil of charcoal, and it's all messy. I can tell that you drew it, and it looks like a kid drew it. Because the hands are weird. Uh,
That's me
like the
as an
face
adult.
is weird.
It's me
It's
drawing
hard.
now.
It's hard to get the hands right.
This is embarrassing.
Um, And that's why past lives are cool, because we don't really look at them for the sake of entertainment. And we certainly don't remember them when we incarnate, but the angels will bring them up when they want us to know something important, like, hey, you've been doing this a long time. We want you to know um, this this connection you have to the cryptid. This is long standing with you. This is something you've chosen over and over. And they want me to say to you, think of this not just as a hobby, but as part of your sole purpose to find truth and share it with the world. And you know this. They say, you
Mm.
know this already. This is more than a hobby. We'd like you to hear it from the spirit world, that you are honored on the other side for this, and keep going. And so much so that you could do a better job saying to us, your angels, your family on the other side, hey, this is what I need. I need more time, or I need this piece of equipment, or hey, I could use more money. Whatever it is, ask them without attaching the worry of, I don't know how they'll get me that. You don't have to worry about that. Stay in your lane. Ask them for more help, because since it's in your sole purpose, they can get you help. They can get you what you need, including bringing people to you that will help you, and opportunities to move you along in your journey. Pretty cool shit, isn't
It really does, because that's kind of what the angel numbers say.
it? Yes,
That
yes.
last paragraph.
Yep.
Well, this makes total sense.
Yep. Good.
That is crazy how that works out. The Bigfoot thing is amazing.
I know, when I saw that, I was like, come on, come on. But it's right above your bed. You know how when you're little, you draw stuff and you want to look
Oh
at it
yeah.
forever? Yeah.
Check that out. I got this right here. Got all kinds of Bigfoot stuff.
Love that. Yeah. This picture from that past life looks like it looks like the back of a school worksheet or something, like you did it in class and you weren't supposed to. And it looks like it's a charcoal pencil. And as you drew it, like this part of your hand made it messy.
Oh
And
yeah.
you put it on your wall. It's really adorable.
It's been like a weird like sub favorite of mine for a long time, since probably about fifth grade.
Mm,
Because I used to get all the ghost books at the book fair.
yes.
That was always in at least one of them.
Yes. Well, there's a reason behind that. It's, I don't want to feel too religious here, but God wouldn't put that in your heart to tease you.
No,
There's a purpose. You're supposed to do that.
I always thought it was fun because everybody's like, he's not real. I'm like, do you know he's not
Do
real?
you? How would you know that?
I'm like
No. How
the
would
burden
you
of
know that?
nobody's not found Bigfoot yet.
I really hope we get to the point with Bigfoot that, just like, I mean, look at where we were with ETs even 2 years ago, where people didn't want us to talk about abductions, but gosh, now they're so in the media. People are talking openly about ETs all of a sudden. I wonder if we'll get that way with Bigfoot. I hope so. Although, as I say that out loud, I also don't want so many people to know about Bigfoot that they're in danger. They're endangered. But if it's true what Spirit said about how they can hop back into a dimension, or that dimensional cave idea, maybe they are safe. I don't know. but they seem very gentle. I think they'd rip your throat out if they needed to. I know they would, but the angels say they're a gentle species. I know they are. The angels say they are a gentle species and only would harm if they needed to protect their young. And also, when you communicate with the cryptid, like telepathically, it's complete sentences at this point. It's not like caveman talk or an animal. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it would be really unfortunate if somebody found them and hurt them. And that's kind of what we do here. Like if you find something different, oh,
Yeah.
let's tear it apart. Let's
That's why I
judge it.
said Bigfoot's totally aware that we ruin their
Yeah.
entire thing if we did found them. It's not any secret. It's not any
Yeah.
it's kind of sad that that's the thing. But if we did get a hold of one, he'd probably have to be in a sanctuary for a while.
That's what we did with the Grays when the aliens send their little guys that they made, because their frequency is so high that the higher dimensional
Mm-hmm.
can't be here. So they made the Grays, like I said. Well, gosh, you've seen pictures of the Grays being autopsied. That's what we do.
Yeah, that's what Bob Lazar saw anyway. If he did, if he saw one, if it wasn't a dummy or something
Well, I think you saw it.
over an S4,
I think you saw it.
saw like the. I'd like to think you would. So you don't think there'll ever be like a White House lawn landing or anything, since what they actually are.
No, it'll be no, and they're already here. See, the ETs are already working with the government. There's deals with the government already. They step back a little bit because, like with the stealth bomber, um, that was supposed to be for time travel or something, and they made a deal with the government. I don't know what the aliens got from the government. I don't know. I have no idea if it was like, we give you this, you give it back, or if it was just a benevolent gift. I don't know, but it turned into the stealth bomber, but it was supposed to be for time travel for us. So the ETs are already working with us, and there are a lot of people who are, how they said earlier that we're all colonized, we're all from someplace. Well,
Mm-hmm.
there are people that are starting to be aware that, oh, I've never fit here. I must be from someplace. There's all these people are like, I'm a star seed. I'm Pleiadian. I'm Andromeda. And they're starting to realize, okay, I'm fully human, but down deep, I'm from another planet and I'm gonna own that. I'm gonna grow my psychic gifts that match that place. They're starting to feel that. And the ETs are like, yeah, you're from your homeland and we're gonna guide you through that. They're saying that in that way, they're already walking among us in a
Mm-hmm.
very peaceful way. And then there's like reptilians. You know about the reptilians?
Yeah, didn't one of the bigger ones die last
Thinks,
Thursday
yeah,
over in England?
I think so.
I love that one. The Queen Reptilian.
Yes. And then some people think that the reptilians are negative and they're not. They're just highly intelligent and they're not as feeling, they're not as lovey-dovey as some of the other ET species, maybe. I don't know, but mm, I don't know. I tend to be too much of a Pollyanna sometimes. I know there's dark out there, but sometimes I don't catch on to it.
So well, if you weren't, you could drive yourself crazy with that subject.
Well, yeah, and I'm an angel communicator, so I mean, I tend to be a little bit. I mean, look at me.
Yeah,
Anyway,
Matthew, Jennifer Love Hewitt, ghost hunter over here, seeing
but I
people
don't
all.
take any shit.
No, that's you're not. My friend who was on here that had that sensitivity said that too, because you can't take any shit from them.
Take any shit, no way, and they know it. And I can't tell you how many times I've been face to face with the demon, and the demon will say, "I remember you." And I'm like, "From where?" And it'll be another lifetime or something. Like, oh,
Easy there, Constantine.
yeah.
Coming through
Ugh.
there. Oh, she said that she was in the Waverly, not Waverly Hills, the Doe Run in Kentucky, and faced a demon and run it off, and she's a truck driver. And when she came back through there, she heard a voice in her head thinking you wasn't gonna get rid of her that easily. and tried to wreck her truck, so she had to pull it over.
Yeesh. Yeah, they can get nasty.
That's what scares me. That's why The Exorcist is the scariest movie ever.
Yeah, I just don't let them do that. I just have rules there, and I've come to the point where I just they've never done that to me, and I don't want to poke at them, but I've never had that happen to me, thank God. Um, I've worked with a lot of families who have gotten scratched or had bad houses burned down. I've helped a lot of people with exorcisms and poltergeists and things like that, but I haven't had any personal stuff where I've been personally hurt. I've just seen a lot and I'm glad for that. But
Do you do anything preventative to keep that away, or is it just luck?
I mean, as an angel worker, I work with Archangel Metatron, who is the one who takes the beings from other dimensions and he takes them back to where they belong. So he's always on the lookout for me. He always jokes and he says, I'm your bouncer. I work with Archangel Uriel, who takes earthbound spirits who might mean to do me harm and he takes them over to the other side. So they're always looking out for me. And then I just make sure before I leave, I do readings every day. So I do psychic readings every day. And I make sure before I come home, I just take a moment to say, if anybody's with me, you can't come home with me. I kind of just wipe my feet at the door, that kind of thing, especially if I've taken an attachment off of somebody. I found that if you just say out loud, you can't come home with me, as the living, we rule. We have more power than anything in spirit. And if we say you can't come in my house, you can't come home with me, they have to listen. If you say you
Hmm.
can't touch me, they cannot touch you. And I don't think a lot of people know that. And also, since I believe in God, since that's in my personal theology, I also say, I'm a child of God, you can't touch me. And they're hands off. That makes sense to them. Or I'll say the Lord's Prayer, and that always diffuses a situation. And I think that's because I believe it. And a lot of these demons go so far back into Catholicism or back into Latin stuff that it
Mm-hmm.
works that like their language too. So yeah, I don't do a lot with crystals. I know a lot of people do crystals and things like that. That I don't do that, but I know it works for a lot of people. I don't use holy water that much because I just use my words. I'm a child of God, and I use prayer. That's kind of it. I
Okay,
keep it
that makes sense.
stupidly simple. Stupidly simple. I figure if it's going to work, it's got to be simple.
Yeah, you don't carry around a leather bound demon defeating case or anything on
When I do
supernatural.
exorcisms, I have a bag. And in that I have a Bible and some other things, but I only use those if the demon I'm working with would match that. So if it's a really old demon, I might speak Latin to it. So I kind of have my bag of tricks in case I need it. But my preference is to just show up as me and just do my thing. That is usually what works. But yeah, I do have my bag of tricks. I have my black leather bag. Makes me
Okay,
feel kind of cool. Here I come. Here I'm an exorcist.
that's kind of cool.
And my husband travels with me. He's my assistant. We kind of reminds me of that couple from like the Annabelle movies or whatever. We do that.
So something crazy about your husband. Not I didn't. I just looked at your bio and it popped up as that was a friend. I didn't go
Yeah.
digging or anything, but I looked. I saw the picture. I'm like, I know him. I don't know
Yep.
how. I've seen him before. Is he been on TV or something? Or
He's been in some things. He used to be an actor, he used to be an opera singer.
so I'm not crazy if I've recognized him.
Oh, you might recognize him. He doesn't do that anymore, but yeah, he used to. You might have seen him in some stuff, commercials or stuff. That was kind of his old life.
That might have been it. I mean, I swear, like I was like, that dude looks familiar.
He's got one of those faces.
Yeah,
And
man. It was.
yeah, he's
Let,
great. He's
let me
great.
let me Facebook stalk you again.
Yeah, he's pretty awesome, but he goes with me and he's very intuitive. He's very psychic and he helps me with the clearings and things and make sure I don't go too pale or I don't get possessed or something.
That's incredible. Like I feel like
Yeah.
I know him. He probably because he looks a lot like a British Bake Off guy. I think that's it.
my gosh, I have the hots for Paul because he
Yeah,
looks like, oh, yeah. Every time I watch that show, my husband walks in and he's like, seriously,
I
what's
think
my
that's probably
doppelganger wearing today?
I think that's probably it now that I'm looking at it. So do you
That's
know Latin or does it
probably it.
just come to you?
I don't know Latin, but I know it well enough that I can read it. And
Okay.
so I have stuff that I found beforehand that I know what it means, so I can just read it. But yeah, no, I don't know Latin. I'm
I
not
didn't
that.
know. I didn't know if you went full blown dogma on us or what.
No, I am ordained. I am a minister. Um,
Colapitos.
yeah, I used to run a church. I don't do that anymore. I'm not religious anymore. Um,
Not, I'm gonna say you couldn't have been Catholic.
nope.
You
I
couldn't have been
nope,
a Catholic.
nope, not as a woman. Nope, no, no. But I worked in traditional churches for a long time, about 12 years, and then led a church, a spiritual church for a couple of
Mm-hmm.
years. Didn't want to do that anymore.
I don't blame you. My parents bought a nice barn and put gravel in it, and I said I should just get ordained. We can make $1 billion out here.
Ah,
I could just become a representative of the state.
yeah,
Start marrying mofo's left and right.
I mean, you could.
He's gonna stop me.
I do love it. I love doing the weddings. I do. And I don't mind doing the funerals because those can be really beautiful. But there's just something about the church. I loved being a minister and I loved running a church, but I just wasn't my heart anymore. No,
It makes sense. Stuff dies
more
on you.
spirit. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I sure loved sitting with you and looking at your past lives and
Oh
stuff and
yeah,
talking about weird shit with you. Thanks for having me on.
that was great. I got one more thing since I didn't plan on this, but since you were doing like the remote viewings, what we think that our building at work is haunted. Is there any way you could like check that from where you're at?
Yeah, sure, sure. Yes.
You need the address.
No, I don't. Yeah, there was okay, yeah. Lights are flickering there. Is that what's going? Lights are flickering. You feel watched.
For real?
What?
No,
Yeah,
look.
what's?
When the power goes out, we have lights that are on battery backup and they'll flicker for 24 hours.
Yeah,
Dum,
yeah,
dum, 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 dum.
yeah. Um,
It's not like an evil kind of feeling. We're just like,
no, no,
what was that?
it's just busy. They say that okay, so near where your building is, there was a community, like a county home or something, like where poor people went to live and farm, like a county farm. You might look that up. Or I think for a while it was like an orphanage and then a hospital, county hospital, and then like a poor person's home. And it's not there anymore. Um,
And now it's a military base.
got it. Okay. There's a lot of people walking around that died there and they're sick. They have so open sores. So they got sick from something that got passed around. And they walk the building and they're fine. They are earthbound spirits, they're ghosts. They seem to be very curious about, especially there's lots of kids there. They're curious about staplers and phones and things that they can take apart. And when they all get together, they do make the power go out. And that they want me to say that's never been on purpose. It's just when they all gather. There's sometimes they gather because some of their haunting is repetitious. It's kind of beyond them, like a Sunday nights or Friday nights. I can't, it's like something on the weekend. Friday nights or Sunday nights, they tend to all somebody's calling them together because there's a church service and they can't help it. It's like rhythm. There's a priest there who calls them all together. And so when they're all joined together, it's sometimes the lights can go out or something like that. There was a tornado there was a bad tornado, and when they relive that and they remember everybody kind of hunkering down, whenever that memory comes up, the lights might go out. So when those old memories kind of come back around like a broken record, they say, sorry, that's us. um, the little kids tend to steal things. So that's why the little things go missing. And you can say out loud, return it, please. And they will return it. You've got a couple of mothers and grandmothers who will bring it back. I'm sorry. Um, there doesn't appear to be anything dark there. It's just creepy. They're watching a lot. Um, they are connected to the land, really, because it's not the actual building, it's the building that used to be there. It's, yeah, the old building, the, well, you said it, it's the VA now or something.
Yeah, it's what's
Military.
building. They were built in the '60s, and I'm not sure what was
Okay,
there
this was
beforehand.
before that.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
had to have
before
been.
that, because they look like they're from 1850, 1880, something like that,
It could have
and
been a plantation
raggedy
over there.
clothes, something. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. um and the plantation, there are, I don't know about the plantation, but there is somebody there who is African American, and he's got a noose on his neck, so there's a hanging tree back there. There are 5 of those men walking around, and one of them is a boy. He's like a 7-year-old boy, and that is dark. I might actually see if I can connect with them tonight and get them crossed over, because they do not want to be there. um they're making cars run out of oil, and tires lose pressure. um have you noticed that with people going out to their car, that their tires are flat? They haven't run over anything, but tires go flat,
so mine was last month, but
because they say that's them. They let air out. God, I don't know how they would possibly do that, but they say they do
so
that.
I had a nail, but that was about it.
Okay.
the
um
The two things you said that really triggered with me were the messing with office supplies and the lights flickering,
yeah.
because they'll thump for a day. Like I don't know if that's what, like, you're seeing the lights flickering,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yep. Yep.
it's like a thing. It'd be right over somebody's desk and go thump, 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 thump for a whole
Yes,
day.
yes. And these people are also very loud. So if you got everything quiet, you could say, "Hey, if you're here, thump on the wall," and they'll do it. There's enough of them there. Um, they're pretty bored. I mean, they'd
I
probably want to
imagine.
talk to you. Yeah, they seem fine. I'm not seeing anybody there. They're a little bit grumpy. I mean, they had a hard life. I'm going to see if any of them want to cross over. I'm going to do that tonight. So things might get a little lighter there, but I'm not. They seem to be enjoying. They seem to be enjoying being around and just hanging out. I'm surprised that they're there. Why wouldn't you want to cross over? But
We talk a lot of football. That could have been.
maybe. I know that the little kids are running around all the time, and they've got like this, it looks like a basketball, but it's not. It's leather and it's sewn together. It looks almost handmade, and they're throwing that around. They're outside a lot, and it maybe they're just happy. I don't know. But that's what I see. Um, they're aware. This is not a residual haunting where it's just like a broken record all the time. They're aware. They're intelligent spirit, and they say just every once in a while we get caught up in an old memory. We're sorry about that. Things go wackadoo.
The first, the most real thing that happened that told me something was up was I was in there by myself having a conversation with my boss, who sits behind a little cube wall,
Mm-hmm.
and I heard typing, like typing. Somebody was typing up a storm, and I stand up to say something to him, and dude is not there. It's just me. I'm like, okay,
Oh,
that's probably. And more than once I've seen somebody or felt somebody walk to the fridge and they weren't there.
yes. Yep.
I hear the typing a lot though.
Yeah. Those little kids are like, toot, 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 toot. I'm
Oh
going to play
yeah.
secretary now. Toot, 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 toot,
It's
toot, toot.
exactly what it sounds like. Somebody, like when they, do you remember when hardware stores used to have computers like at the end of the aisle?
Uh-huh.
I used to run and go, it sounded exactly like that. Just no letters. Nobody types that fast.
No, you're just making tappy sounds like you're a little kid.
You know, like 1.5 seconds.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I see him
That's
doing that.
that's
And then
cool.
laughing like, oh, I'm a grown. Yep.
What I was waiting for you to say, in the 60s or 70s, see, redstone was founded in the 40s after World War II because of von Braun. But there was a guy hit by a car right
Mm.
behind us.
Oh,
You said that, I was about to turn this thing off.
I don't see him. He's not there.
Yeah, he could have bounced.
I don't see him. He would have.
He's recent.
No, Mr. Steve. What's his last name?
Oh, I don't know. I'd have to look at
Okay.
the redstone.
He's not there.
It could have been a myth, but that's like a
I don't see him at all. I don't see that at all. That seems like a no, I don't see him there at all. There's a janitor there that
really.
walks around. And he is from that current building. He worked there in the very beginning and heart attack. Not on the grounds, but does come back and visit. There is a janitor there, and you can hear his keys step clink, and that's at night. And he says he's from the building from the late 50s or 60s. He says, I was here when the building was built. I came over from the old building, so I don't know what business was there, but whatever business came over in the very beginning, he says he came over with it. He was employed by them. Mr. Stevens, I am Mr. Stevens.
I'm gonna write that down.
I'm Jack Stevens. I am Jack Stevens, and I am the janitor here. And he says, it's nice to meet you.
Cool.
And he says that he knows nothing about the person who was hit by the car. I just asked him if he's seen him. He says, I know nothing about that. I have not seen anyone.
And that could have been anywhere over there. Just one of those redstone legends.
Okay. Well, I mean, a legend could be true. Who knows? Everything comes from something.
I'll send you an article about some of the stuff that they've heard about out there, and you can see if any of it's kind of true. I was in one of the buildings that was in the article. I remember being like a cold spot there in the evenings. I was like, man, that ain't cool at all.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a ghost trying to show up.
That was
changing those molecules. Oof.
It was the first main building on post, so it's really old. It wouldn't shock me a bit. Kind of just assumed it was. If it's not haunted, somebody missed their calling. So this has been great. I will not bother you much longer.
I loved it. Thank you.
I hear kids screaming out there, and no telling what's going on.
Yeah, I should probably feed my kids. They've been in the closet with a spoonful of peanut butter for like 2 hours now. So
it's for the best.
Should probably get the hose and
government peanut butter, non-mixed. I hope.
Yeah, nothing but the oil
floating on top. All righty. Well, I'll get you that article, see what you think about it. Appreciate it, though. This has been amazing. And I have a plan coming up for a podcast called Why Can't We Know? And I'm trying to get about a half a dozen people. I'm trying to figure out why we can't know about UFOs and cryptids. But if you're interested, I'll let you know.
Yeah.
All righty. Well, I appreciate it.
Yeah. Take care. Weekend. All right. Bye.
Thanks a lot.
You're so welcome. Bye.